Hey, I'm John F. Gately. You can call me Jack, and broadcasting to you from beautiful Plymouth, Massachusetts. Here in beautiful Manamet, I'm looking out the studio window today. We have the windows open because we had a nice, cool evening with the breeze, and it is overcast and kind of rainy. I just looked at the radar, and it looks as if the rain is moving west to east, of course, clearing out of here in beautiful Plymouth by about like 1:30. Cape Cod, it'll take longer, but I would imagine by noon, most of Massachusetts will be clear of rain, at least, which is very important for me driving the convertible. I've taken the doors off the Bronco, and yeah, it's all about me. And so it's kind of like driving a motorcycle, I guess. Um, when you got to how do I want to adjust your travel schedule for the rain. Now, of course, you put the top on if you want, but you can still get wet because the doors are off. There is first world problems, right? Bronco problems. But yeah, this looks like the last bit of rain for several days, probably until next Tuesday or Wednesday or something like that. So that looks good. Looks like we're in a beautiful stretch of mid-July summer heat coming up. Remember, it's not the heat, it's the stupidity. And it looks like very nice afternoon today for a couple of days, 4 or 5 days thereafter, going to be very nice. We have a great show today, including your calls. So if you want to call into the show, we'll be taking your calls probably starting at the bottom of the hour. All right. So yeah, we'll put the phone number up on the screen in a little bit. The phone number is not open for calls at the moment, but we'll put it up later in this show, probably about the bottom of the hour. I thought the phone calls went really well yesterday in our, how do I want to say it, inaugural day of phone calls, taking your live listener phone calls on the show. I thought that went well. And so we're going to try it again today at the bottom of the hour. We'll put the phone number up at the appropriate time. We have a great show today. The number one story, of course, is the arrest by the federal government of 6 out of 7 Chinese national conspirators. It's very important to point out that these folks are not American citizens. These are Chinese nationals who came to the United States, many through our open border coordinated by the Democrats, including Maura Healey and Otto Penn, to buy and sell, trade, to engage themselves in the business of the illicit manufacture and trade of marijuana. And why did that become a market that they thought they could enter? Because a lot of states, including Massachusetts, Maine, and elsewhere, legalized marijuana. But when they did that, they added all sorts of regulatory requirements and taxes, which artificially boosted the price. And then they naively thought that nobody would undercut them. But they didn't see the Chinese mafia coming. So we're going to talk about that story. We have an audit update. And we have another situation with an energy bill that is just totally just bonkers in terms of how much you actually paid for the energy versus how much you paid for the delivery, and then a lot of other very interesting stories. I wanted to start off with this kind of a national story, but we're just going to squeeze it in here in the beginning. Something that has been very, very interesting to me. Douglas Mackey, also known as Ricky Vaughn, was persecuted, and I do want to use that term, persecuted by the Biden administration for posting a joke, for posting a meme that said that you could actually vote by texting Hillary to 59925, which is a joke. It's a meme. And the Biden administration prosecuted him for that. Yesterday, the Second Circuit Court of Appeals has thrown out his conviction for lack of evidence and been remanded with an order to immediately dismiss. Way to go, Douglas Mackey. Hallelujah. By the way, there was an other person, I believe she was in California, who posted a meme that was almost exactly the inverse of this meme. And the Biden administration did nothing. And this traces back, if I'm not mistaken, this traces back to the 2016 election. So he posted that in 2016. And as soon as the Biden administration took office, which would have been in January of 2021, well, that's what, 4 or 5 years later, retribution. This was completely and absolutely political retribution. And it is not illegal to post jokes on the internet. And I can't believe that this had to go literally to appeals. And he was originally convicted in New York court. It's just absolutely insane. But jokes are not illegal, and it's not illegal to poke fun at the entire process. This was not an effort to subvert democracy, like the Biden administration said. It was just simply a joke. Lighten up. And the fact that you did not prosecute somebody who posted almost the exact same meme in inverse out of California proves that it was just a political persecution, which is exactly what it was. Congratulations to Douglas Mackey. I'm glad that you won, and you deserve to win. Another story which we did not cover yesterday, but I wanted to just kind of bring it up on the screen because it was disturbing when I heard it. It's an update on the state trooper, serious update on the state trooper who got hit by the moped or motorcycle up on Revere Beach. This is really awful news, but I think it's important that we highlight the rank and file troopers who do the vast majority of them. I know the state police as an organization, they've got issues, but on a daily basis, your average state trooper, just like any average police officer, does fantastic work and risking their lives to protect you every single day. This is what happened to Lieutenant Don Bossie, and it's a serious situation. Just play the video here from Channel 5. Oh, it's loading. Getting the circle of death. Come on, Channel 5. You can do it. No, you're going to disappoint. You're going to embarrass me here, Channel 5. Oh, boy. All right, let's see if it comes back. No, not going to do it. All right, anyways, Lieutenant Bossie, sadly, is still in a medically induced coma out of this incident that occurred on Revere Beach. He's in bad shape. It sounds as if he will survive, but he's got a separated pelvis, liver issues, and potential kidney failure as a result of this hit and run with a motorcycle. So prayers for him. And it's just, it's amazing what these troopers and police officers do every single day to protect us. And this guy was literally just responding to the call, had just gotten out of his cruiser, and then the motorcycle hit him. Awful, absolutely awful. Chester Tam brought up this post yesterday. Thank you, Chester. This is the gas bill for somebody known as Brett Silva. Oh, it's Brett Silva's gas bill. And the supply, it's kind of hard to see here, but the supply here, that's a little bit better, is $19.09. $19.09 of natural gas. And the delivery was $97.97. So basically it's $117 and change for your gas bill. But it is a 5-to-1 ratio on the delivery to the supply. Chester says, these summer gas bills in Massachusetts are ridiculous. How many meals do you think this person cooked at home? Because I'm sure it wasn't from turning on the heat. I hope it wasn't from turning on the heat, Chester. So $19 worth of gas, and it cost them $98 to get it delivered. What are they going to look like come the winter time? Well, that's a good question, Chester, but God, I don't even want to think about it. Meanwhile, thank you for posting that, Chester, and thank you, Brett, for sharing it as well. In the meantime, following up the energy town hall that Mass Fiscal hosted, and that I was very happy to be a part of. I was honored to be a part of it. It was very nice of them to ask me. Thank you. There is a story again out of Western Mass about lithium-ion battery facilities. And one of the very important points of that Robert Bryce had to say at the Energy Town Hall, who was the keynote speaker, was that especially in places like Massachusetts, where it's densely populated, we don't have a lot of locations to cite these. Hold on, let me get my air quotes. Green energy facilities. So let's take a quick listen to this story. Hopefully, it won't circle of death me like the Channel 5 did. Out in Western Massachusetts about lithium-ion battery facilities. And lithium-ion battery facilities, they're incredibly safe and they never spontaneously combust. So I don't know what these people in Western Mass are concerned about.
As residents fighting back against possible storage facilities for lithium-ion batteries based in their towns.
And now local lawmakers are getting involved to help give neighbors more power to decide what goes in and what stays out of their area. Western Mass News reporter Wesley Days has the story.
Once these chemicals are out there, they're out there. They're in the ground. You can't uncork that bottle.
Add Agawam to the list.
I don't know if there was enough study.
That, by the way, was your friend from Twitter. I'm pretty sure that was Cecilia from Twitter.
Into that, because they've had a lot of them burn up. Very toxic fumes that gets people sick.
It's the latest area to figure out if they want a lithium-ion battery storage space in their city. Agawam native Cecilia Calabrese isn't so thrilled.
The site that they're proposing, it's next to a farmland. There's residents that are there. There are businesses that are there.
Despite her complaints, even others cheers. It doesn't really matter. Calabrese or her counterparts don't have a say. Neither do city officials. The power really belongs to the state, for now, at least.
We just wanted to give back that the local communities still have a say in what's going to go into their communities.
HD 4557 does exactly that. 4th Hamden Rep Kelly Pease wants this on state Congress's floor.
It's all about community, local level. And I think it's more important that at the local level, they know their community, they know their city, they know their town, that they have the input.
A bill that would allow city and town government to approve a storage facility before the state gets their say.
It's really vital that we get that local control back.
It's unclear if or when this bill could be passed, but Cecilia wants it done pretty quick.
I would love to see an emergency session of the state legislature called.
Reporting for Western Mass News, I'm...
Well, all right. So that was State Representative Kelly Pease and your friend from Twitter, Cecilia Calabrese. And the reason why they want to get this bill, this local authority back, is because not that long ago, there was legislation which passed to take that local authority away from you, so that they could jam this green energy infrastructure down your throat, even if you didn't want it. That's why State Representative Kelly Pease is proposing this law, is because this proposal used to be the law until recently. The Healy administration took that local authority away from you so they could jam all these facilities down your throat. That's exactly what's happening. They're actually just trying to reinstate the local authority, which up until fairly recently was in place until Maura took it away. All right, so great to have you here today. Let's see if we have any comments right off the bat. Aaron Packard for governor says, God bless the trooper. Thank you very much, Mr. Packard. Maggie says that she has a gas bill just like that. Yeah, I wish I actually had natural gas. Is one thing that I miss living in this neighborhood. From the city, we had natural gas in the city, of course, and this is one thing I definitely miss. Some of my neighbors have propane. They have the underground propane tank, but no, we just have electricity and oil. Oh, we're climate criminals here at my house. We heat our house with oil. I know someday they're going to march us out of here and send us to some type of re-education camp. But look, aside from that, we did have the local authority to say yes or no to lithium-ion battery facilities, but no more. Bye-bye. And thank you, Kelly Pease, for pushing that piece of legislation. That was an important story. But let's get to our top story of the day, and that is the bust. And I don't know if this tweet from the FBI got enough attention yesterday, so I wanted to bring it up. I know the U.S. Attorney got a lot of attention yesterday, and good for her. All credit to her, Leah Foley's office. Here, the FBI And they are crediting the Massachusetts State Police with an investigation that results in the charges of 7 Chinese nationals in connection with the multi-million-dollar money laundering, alien smuggling, and drug trafficking enterprise that distributed kilos of bulk marijuana. And I think that's actually a pretty good description. The importance of this bust is that this was not like street levels. This is not a baggie of marijuana. These were wholesale. I think that's the best way to think about it. Wholesale trade growers and traders of marijuana. I think that's kind of like, so yeah, that's kind of a good way to think about it. This was not quantities that were bundled and packaged for individual use or even for distribution among a handful of people. This was bulk wholesale volume. I think that's the kind of the best way to think about it. And good job on the FBI and the state police for also contributing to this investigation. Surprisingly, Governor Healy, while she's on vacation in an undisclosed location, which we're going to talk about in just a minute, she reacts. And if you recognize this house here, that's because I was just outside this house yesterday. This is the house in beautiful Braintree. This looks like as it was under construction. So they must have grabbed this photo. Braintree, they grabbed this photo off of the town of Braintree website or something like that. Yeah, because there's a dumpster, and this looks like it's not even moved into at this point in this photo. It is a nice house, 1.5 million, I think it was. It's in a very nice neighborhood. I don't know if you ever gone to this neighborhood. It's kind of like near the exit with Archbishop Williams, kind of behind South Shore Plaza, but it's called North Braintree. It's on a hill. It's very, very nice neighborhood. Yeah, kind of a hidden gem in a way. Governor Haley says she's grateful. She's grateful. I am grateful for the work of the Massachusetts State Police Special Services Section and our local, federal, and local partners to end this criminal enterprise, the governor said in a statement shared with the Herald. Well, isn't that nice? She can't even come to name the FBI or U.S. Attorney Leah Foley. She just says in the most bland statement possible, our federal and local partners. While she tries to take credit, she's basically trying to take credit here for the role of the Massachusetts State Police, which I'm sure was helpful, but I don't think was central in any way, shape, or form. And let's positively and absolutely remember that this drug ring was fueled by the open border that Maura Healey supported and that the entire Democrat Party supported. She's saying, oh, hey, she's grateful. You're grateful? It's your policies that helped this type of thing occur. You created this, and a lot of people here in Massachusetts created this opportunity, this economic opportunity by pricing marijuana to the stratosphere. You created the opportunity, and then you had the border, which was open, through which we had an invasion, through which these Chinese national criminals were smuggling, paying off the cartel, workers or slaves, really, because, or indentured service, however you want to call it, to come work at their drug cartel grow houses. You're grateful? You want your policies supported and suborned, if that's the word, fostered this type of criminal activity. You're grateful? You helped this happen. And your entire Democrat Party helped this happen. You're grateful? F off. I hope you don't. Yeah, you go spend some more time on vacation. You might want to have some time to reflect upon your own policies in the party, in the policies of the Democrat Party that helped this Chinese organized crime ring to flourish in Massachusetts. You're grateful? F off. Steve Robinson from the Main Wire in the Robinson Report, Big Steve 207, who is the person who has been keeping up the pressure on this story for what, a year and a half, 2 years plus. Here's his big takeaway. The Biden administration knew all along. And when we say the Biden administration, we also mean that the Democrat Party at large. I'm just going to editorialize here. I hope, Steve, you don't mind to saying that. But I think he's been incredibly critical of Governor Mills' activity or lack of comment on them. We're going to get to that in a second. But the Biden DOJ knew all along. Now, to be fair, the search warrants for these properties were executed during the Biden administration, in October of 2024. They knew Chinese illegal aliens were coming across the border and being used like indentured slaves at New England drug houses. They knew, yet they did nothing. It is true that even though it's been a while since October of 2024, why did it take so many months from the search warrants that occurred in October of 2024 till July of 2025? Why did it take so long to actually bust these people? And if I can, just as an aside, how could these people have been so brazenly stupid if the FBI comes to your house in October of 2024 and seizes $270,000? How stupid are you to hang around and continue to live in the same house? How dumb are you? That's just dumb, because guess what? They just came back in July and you were there, right? I spoke to some sources that observed the raid. Let's just put it that way. And they came at 6 o'clock in the morning, as the federal government usually comes at the dark 30, right? And the multiple cruiser, the whole thing, and took them off to jail. Bye-bye. How dumb are you? I mean, you would think these Chinese organized crime, but people are smart, and most criminals that make it up the food chain like this, they actually can be very, very smart or clever. But why did they stay there? They probably stayed there because they probably thought that, okay, we lost $270,000. That's the cost of doing business, but we're safe here in Massachusetts, is probably what they were thinking, right? I'm thinking that they probably thought that. Because for 4 years, effectively, almost the entire time they were here, they really didn't have to worry about any type of prosecution. Steve Robinson again. This operation shows traditional law enforcement methods are insufficient for combating what is really a national security issue. We're treating foreign invasion like a domestic crime issue. For years of police work to lug 7, love that word, lug, when 10,000 remain at large with 300 to 400 properties. So for those of you who don't know, the Daily Caller Foundation back in, I don't even remember when that was, 2022 or early 2023, whatever it was, they leaked this memo that said that Chinese organized crime had control of 270 grow houses in rural Maine. And that's kind of, when that story came out, Robinson kind of took and ran with that and says, wow, this is a huge story. No one's reporting it in the main media. And he went and did his thing. And it was really interesting. So yesterday, because of the federal court records thing is, it's a little cumbersome. It's a little cumbersome to read the record system thing. And so I left here yesterday looking for the indictment, and I finally got it on my phone, and I downloaded it, I put it on Google Drive, I shared it, and oops, sorry, having trouble with the chair. And then, so I'm in the car rather than being at my desktop, and I'm reading it, and all of a sudden I read this section of the indictment. On or about November 12th, Chen, who is the alleged ringleader, shares an article with his co-conspirators, allegedly, how Chinese marijuana grows took over rural Maine, triad weed. So that's on November 12th, 2023. So it ends up that is actually Steve Robinson's landmark article from the Maine Wire. That is Steve Robinson's landmark article from the Maine Wire. And it was published on November 8th. And 4 days later, these criminals are sharing Steve Robinson's write-up of their organization, because Steve Robinson had this story way before the feds. Steve Robinson had this way before the feds and way before anybody else. I just want to, it was astonishing that, and I'll credit as goes probably to the Daily Wire as well for bringing this up. Here it is here. I just want to bring this up to you here. We'll hit this button here. That'd probably be better. A little off center, but we'll deal with it. On or about November 12th, Wu sent Chen an article entitled Triad Weed, How Chinese Marijuana Grows Took Over Rural Maine, and other similar articles concerning Chinese marijuana grows in Oklahoma by WeChat, which is a very popular messaging app for in China. You know, I just want to say my interpretation of why they wrote the indictment this way, because they could have very easily wrote item number 10 here without using the title of the article. They could have just said news reports and similar articles concerning operations in Oklahoma. They could have used some generic language, but the U.S. attorney purposely wrote the title of Steve Robinson's article from November of 2023, directly referencing the Maine Wire and Steve Robinson. And I want to just kind of float a theory as to why they did that, because they could have just said news coverage, right? They could have just said multiple news articles. They could have just said that. But instead, they decided to specifically name this landmark article by Steve Robinson in the Maine Wire. And so why did they do that? And I don't think the U.S. attorney can come out and say, if it wasn't for Steve Robinson, we wouldn't be here today. But I'm pretty sure that when they write this in section 10 and they include Steve Robinson's title of his article, his landmark article, they're basically saying, without saying it in the most subtle way, all hats off to you. I mean, you, Steve Robinson, independent media from Maine, we wouldn't be here indicting these 7 guys, capturing 6 out of 7, busting all sorts of people up in Maine as well. We wouldn't be here without you. I'm pretty sure that's like hats off to you from the U.S. attorney in the most subtle, indirect way, because they can't come out and say, if it wasn't for Steve, they can't do that. But this is their way of doing that. So congratulations, Mr. Robinson. Well deserved in this particular case. Exceptional work. Running absolute positively circles around the media in the media in Maine. A couple more tidbits from the indictment. Keep on hitting the wrong button. Sorry about that. Manner and means of marijuana conspiracy: owning, operating, and partnering with a number of interconnected illegal marijuana grow houses in Massachusetts and Maine to produce marijuana for distribution. Again, not for just single consumption. Smuggling Chinese nationals into the United States to work at the grow houses. Transporting kilogram-sized quantities of marijuana to grow houses to the District of Massachusetts for storage, including at Chen's residence, which is where I was at yesterday. The base of operations for members of the conspiracy, secreting packages of marijuana inside automobiles at Chen's residence for later distribution, and returning cash profits from the sale to Mr. Chen's residence, which is where I was yesterday. Maintaining an East Coast contact list of cultivators and distributors, and there's a picture of that, and delivering cash profits from marijuana sales to as yet unidentified co-conspirators in the Eastern District of New York. All of this tends to trace back to Brooklyn. All of this almost all traces back to Brooklyn or New York City as a whole. I just also want to just bring back up the tidbit relative to Mr. Robinson's mention here in section number 10. Let's see if I can hit the right button here. In section number 10, again, they reference his particular article. And then see what they say in section number 11. Beginning on or about March 13th and continuing until March 17th, 2024. So this is about 4 months after the Robinson article came out. Chen exchanged a series of WeChat messages with others to go to Albany, New York, to deliver $35,000. Chen cautioned, pay the money immediately, don't linger, so dangerous. So they knew that because of the media coverage from the Main Wire and elsewhere, but specifically the Main Wire, they knew that the heat was starting to get on. And after, that was in March of 2024, the raid at Chen's house and in multiple locations in Massachusetts and in Maine didn't occur until October of 2024. A tremendous indictment. I think I will post out for those of you who want to read it, because it's totally available on the Pacer system, but it is a little awkward to get a hold of it on the Pacer system. So really interesting story. We will continue to cover it as developments merit. Let's check your comments here. Fitzy says, a little weed or a lot of weed, I don't care about it. We've got bigger fish to fry. Okay, Fitzy. Well, that's nice, except for the fact that it also involves like illegal immigrants, smuggling people into our country, Chinese nationals supported by the Communist Party. And if you like legal weed, your legal weed industry, I don't know if you followed this, but the legal weed industry here in Massachusetts is getting undercut. They're struggling. Why are they struggling? They're struggling. If you support legal weed, the number one reason they're struggling is because this Chinese weed that you can buy illegally is much cheaper. So, whether you like it or not, and if you don't care about this story, then you know what? If you don't care about this story, stay for the rest of the show. Or here's the good idea. Here's the good news. Bruce Springsteen said 57 channels, nothing on. Now there's 57,000 channels. Click off. Go. Bye-bye. I don't care. Or just stay and wait till we can cover something else that might be of interest to you. Mary reposted the stream. Thank you very much, Mary. But otherwise, Fitzy, I'd like you to stay if you would. On a completely other unrelated story. This is completely unrelated. Boston mayor opens city hall doors to Chinese Communist Party members. This story is completely unrelated to the weed story that we just talked about. It's racist. No, it's racist. No, it is racist of you to draw a parallel between this story and the Daily Caller, who is also the outlet that published the original story about the 270 marijuana grow houses. Chinese organized crime was operating in Maine. This story is completely unrelated to the story about Chinese organized crime operating in Massachusetts and Maine. Completely unrelated. And if you are to connect these two stories and say that they are connected, you obviously are a racist. Boston mayor opens city hall doors to Chinese Communist Party. These are totally different stories. They have no relation to each other. Absolutely not. Don't even begin to suggest that they do. They're completely unrelated. Don't go. It's not true. They are not related in any way, shape, or form. None of this has to do with the Chinese government. No, these are all individuals acting completely without any influence from the Chinese government. This is not a national security issue, as Big Steve 207 had just mentioned. No, absolutely not. This is not a concerted effort to subvert American democracy. No, it's not. Stop what you're thinking. These are completely two independent occurrences that are not a conspiracy or not a concerted effort by an organized state actor, which is kind of our frenemy. No, it's not. No, not at all. Stop what you're thinking. Also, on the immigration front, policy updates as of July 9th. More winning from the Trump administration. Myra is crying. If Myra is crying, we are winning. That's how this works. Trump administration has announced that TPS, which they don't want to spell out, because what does TPS stand for? It stands for temporary protected status for Honduras and Nicaraguans, will end September 8th. Work permits will remain until that date. So, yeah, I guess you get the rest of the summer to hang out here, Hondurans and Nicaraguans. But after that, your temporary status is over. It's wicked over. And, yeah, you're going to have to go back to Honduras and Nicaragua. Yeah, bye-bye. Bye-bye. I know. We're going to miss you. We're going to miss you. But go back to where you belong. You don't belong here. You had TPS. No wonder why you're using the abbreviation, because you don't want to actually say what that is, and that is temporary protected status. We protected you for a little bit. Now we're sending you back to where you belong. Bye-bye. And it would be great that when you go back, that means that there'll be less demand for apartment units. There'll be less demand for or less supply of labor, which will help citizens in Massachusetts earn a living wage. There'll be less demand or less competitors for apartments. Good. Go. Come on, bye. Leave early if you want, right? I hear Honduras is beautiful this time of year. Go back. Up next, Joey Bats. Joey Bats. He is out with an article today, and I think this article kind of you wonder, like, it was pretty weak on his part today. God, I think I need a new chair today. This article is pretty weak on Joey Bats. You know, sometimes he's good, and and being good doesn't necessarily mean I agree with it. But it was a pretty pathetic look. Kind of like he's on vacation. I think that's what happened here. I think Joey Bats is on vacation, and he had to just get this story in here. So he got annoyed that people were, and by people he means the Boston Globe, were criticizing Maura for leaving the state for a week, not telling anybody where she was going or when she would be back. And I think probably Joey Bats is on vacation, because the way he wrote this article kind of, what are you, down in Chatham or something, Joey? I don't know where you are, but you kind of wrote it in a way as if you were on vacation too. And I know you're jealous that the Globe is on this story and you're not, but Joey Bats here is trying to give Maura a pass for being incredibly opaque about her whereabouts. Remember that the governor has 247 state police protection. Now, to be fair and to be serious here for a second, Mr. Battenfeld does make some very good points about the political violence culture which exists, right? We had this horrific situation out in Minnesota not that long ago, right? We had the Trump attempts last year. We had, in Mr. Battenfeld references, the situation where some lunatic actually got into Charlie Baker's house a couple of years back, where the state police were in the house, but somehow that guy got in the house, like walked in Charlie Baker's kitchen or whatever. And yeah, I mean, and we had this situation, I think, what was it, in Fall River the other day, where some knucklehead from Fall River, Rhode Island man, has been arrested for threatening the president and Pam Bondi. We've had a number of these things. And I was at the Pride Parade covering that story. And I remember the parade was just about to start. And I was reading the news out of Minnesota. I was like, whoa. And I know that Maura was at the beginning of the parade and took some photos there, but then the parade marched by me and she wasn't in the parade. And I was like, that's interesting. And then I kind of went down St. James and the parade came back by me again, and she wasn't in the parade then either. In fact, I think she got pulled from the parade out of security concerns immediately following the Minnesota shooting. And I feel bad, honestly, no sarcasm here. I feel bad for her. That's an event that she probably personally really enjoys. And we should not live in an environment where public officials feel so concerned about their safety that they can't march in a parade, which would otherwise be filled with supporters, right? That's not a political environment which we want to live in. Having said that, and I'm not criticizing her in any way, shape, or form for pulling out of the parade. I think she did like maybe 2 or 3 blocks, and that was it. Because I didn't see her when the parade went this way or back that way either. I think they got the news and the news spooked them, and I don't blame them. Honestly, no sarcasm. But when we're talking about the governor going out of state, there can be some minimum level of transparency where they issue just a basic statement. Hi, I'm the governor. I'm going to Maine with my family for the next 8 days. Lieutenant Governor Driscoll is going to be in charge. I'll be back on such and such a date. It's very simple, like 1-2 sentence declarative statement like that. That's all we're looking for. Just a teeny bit of additional transparency. I think that would have covered it. And I think this would have been a non-story. I'm going to Maine. It's a big state. I'm going to Maine to see my friends grow illegal marijuana. I'm going to Maine with my family for a week. Bye-bye. I'll be back on Monday, whatever Monday's date is. She could have just said that. And I don't think that would have been a security risk of any shape or form, since it's like, Maine, it's a pretty big state. Yeah. So that's how I feel about it. And a tiny little transparency goes a long way, I would say. On the flip side, I understand Mr. Battenfeld's concerns about the physical safety of our political candidates and our political officials, because we cannot tolerate we cannot tolerate or live in a situation where our political officials or our candidates for office are under real physical threat. That's an America that I hope none of us want. Let's see any comments, questions, or concerns. Angry repost. Oh, thank you very much for reposting. Thank you, very kind of you. Why is the Chinese flag allowed to be flown outside of City Hall every September? I don't know. I don't know much about that. Yep. I don't know. Don't know. Maybe we'll look into that. Maybe that question answers itself. Maybe. Let's see. Fitzy wants more. Oh God, you mean they are going to make the legal weed cheaper? No, Fitzy. They're not getting rid of the compliance and the regulation and the taxes. Legal weed is priced way up here, and illegal weed is way down here. So no, they're not getting rid of the regulations in any meaningful way. Nice try. All right, I've been blabbing on forever, and I would like to take a couple of your calls. Let's see if I can flip here to the call phone number. There it is there. All right, so give me a quick second, and we're going to click a couple of buttons here and see if I can take a couple of your calls. Give me just a moment. Just a moment here. Hold on a second. All right, great. I am ready now to take your calls. If you want to call in, you can call in at 617-751-1460. 617-751-1460 is the number. You call in to that number. I'm going to leave it on the screen here. In the meantime, while you do that, we are going to listen briefly to the Attorney General from the Commonwealth of Massachusetts. As you fill up those lines. God, I can't believe I just said that. 617-751-1460. We're going to listen to the Attorney General of the Commonwealth explain why the audit hasn't happened yet.
The auditor's desire, that's
No,
wrong.
it's what
not
I
desire,
said in the
it's
last
law
one.
to conduct an audit of the legislature. Where are we?
The same place we were before.
which for those who weren't listening last month, in one sentence, where are we?
Nothing's changed. We continue to go back and forth with the auditor on just the scope of what she wants to audit.
I have a new tact on this.
All right, so this is the passive aggressive bureaucrat answer. When you don't want to do something as a bureaucrat, you basically, I don't know exactly what you want us to do. So Jim Browdy counters.
If I may, just briefly.
I have a new issue.
Okay, fine. You can do this. Beyond you saying you're not getting what you need from the auditor saying we're giving you in the legislature, she's told us everything you need and then some. Regardless of who's right in that situation, you or Auditor DiZoglio, this is the law of Massachusetts. It's a law like any law passed by the legislature. This happened to be passed by 71% of the voters. Isn't one of your responsibility to ensure that the laws of the state are enforced?
Absolutely.
This is not being enforced.
Absolutely. So where I disagree, and the auditor knows this because we made it crystal clear even before we approved the ballot, that our ridiculous and I would say stupid process, and I think it was done, no offense to the men listening or in this room, by a whole bunch of men, when they designed the
we
ballot
don't take any offense at that at all. Go ahead.
And literally, you actually, when you're going through to approve whether or not something should go to the ballot and to the
Those dumb men that did it.
voters to actually vote on, you actually don't determine at the outset, at the beginning, whether or not it is constitutional.
That is correct.
Which is ridiculous.
That's the Constitution.
So we're wasting at times people's time because you pass something like the ballot question. Then you have to go back and do a constitutional analysis, hence this back and forth with the auditor. And this is not personal. I don't want to, I understand where the auditor is coming from around transparency, accountability. We're just talking about that in the context of the Supreme Court. Folks in the state legislature, greater transparency, et cetera. We are for that. But at the end of the day, the court will ask us, well, what are you attempting to audit? Because there are certain authorities the auditor has in terms of auditing the legislature. And
okay, this point is very important. The Attorney General just said there are certain authorities that the auditor has. Now, listen to what she says next. This is incredibly passive aggressive. This is just like Lucy putting out the football and then she's pulling it away. Listen to exactly what she says. She says she knows what the auditor's authorities are. Now, listen very closely.
Certain authorities, she does not. So this was happening at the same time we told her, one, your audit of the legislature, it can't be done in a certain way. And at the same time, we had the ballot question. So that's the evaluation. Post that ballot question, in order to enforce it, we have to know what is the scope of the audit.
Why don't you just tell her what she can do and what she can't do?
So,
Jim Browdy for the win. This doesn't happen very often. The Attorney General just said there are certain things the auditor can do, and there are certain things that the auditor can't do. And then Jim Browdy, who's also, if I'm not mistaken, a lawyer or went to law school, uses some basic journalism and or lawyerisms and basically says, you just told us that there are certain things the auditor can and cannot do. Instead of having the auditor guess, why don't you just tell the auditor? Why don't you just tell the auditor what she can or cannot do? Since you're the Attorney General, here's the passive-aggressive answer.
Forget what she says. Why don't you?
Because that's not my job. So when we represent the state,
that's not my job. It sounds like you know it. The answer, you just won't tell her. That's exactly what's going on there. That's a perfect, exact, perfect. How do I want to say this? Passive aggressive, bureaucratic answer. Anybody who wants to be a bureaucrat and draw something out, that's exactly what's happened in that exchange there. So no audit for you. Wrong button. No audit for you, but we do have Buck to talk to. Buck is joining us. Buck, no audit for you, but there's a lot of things to talk about. You wanted to talk about the Chinese organized crime mafia boss, Tony Soprano, whose name I can't actually pronounce. Thanks for joining us on the show, Buck. Good morning.
Hey, good morning. Great to see you, Jack. Watch the show all the time. You're doing an outstanding job. Real quick, the mafia boss thing. Well, you know what? I did want to talk about that,
Speak up
but
just a
after
touch,
watching
Buck.
that last video, I'm infuriated.
Speak up just a touch, Buck.
Yeah, so after watching that last video, I did want to speak about the mafia boss, but oh my God, I'm infuriated after watching the attorney general, but I think it goes to a larger problem. So let's take it one by one real quick. Can you hear me? Am I coming through?
Go right ahead.
All right. So if you look at the Chinese national, which probably might be the triads issue that was in, Little Braintree there, what used to be Little Braintree, it's kind of a national problem. It's all over the place. And, I'm glad to see that somebody paid attention and it finally hit home in Massachusetts, because this obviously is an operation that's been going on for a long time. You don't set something up like that overnight. So I'm glad to see that happen. But after watching your last video, the attorney general, somebody needs to challenge this woman in court, even though she's the attorney general, because I don't understand it anymore. The voters voted for it. We know that the state auditor, who's supposed to be the state auditor, has tried several times, and they will not tell them what they need to do to proceed legally forward. But she just admitted she knows what she needs to do, and it's not her job to tell her. Whose job is it? Isn't she the highest legal expert technically in the state of Massachusetts right now on the state level?
Right.
Or one of them?
Jim Browdy nailed it. Like, surprisingly, random active journalism.
Yeah, it was just outstanding to watch him do that, and surprising, I agree. But what I'm hoping is that more and more people watch your show for the real news and the real breakdown of what's going on out there, including these journalists who are paid very good money to work at some of these stations. And I think they're catching on. They're like, you know what? We think Jack might be right. We better wake up a little bit. So let's hope that's happening.
I don't know about that. Listen, I know that you wanted to yesterday. We don't cover this topic a lot, and I don't know a lot about it, but in a nutshell, if you could just tell us what's going on with this Epstein thing. I know that Ben Shapiro is under a lot of criticism today because he says that regular Americans don't care about the Epstein thing. And I kind of feel like that in a way too. Like, if you walk down the street, most people are just worried about putting food on the table and paying their mortgage or their rent, their car payment, their cell phone. And that the whole Epstein thing, while it might be intriguing and a drama, it doesn't actually relate to everyone's like, I got to make money today or this week life. But why are so many, in a small nutshell, if you can, what's happened like during the 6 months of the Trump administration? It seems as if they said one thing and now the Trump administration is saying another thing. Can you just summarize that for us in a quick nutshell?
Sure, I'd be glad to, and I'll do the best I can because I'm certainly no expert. But what's happening out there is we had, prior to the Trump administration, 4 years of we have to wait, we have to take it, and anybody that supported the President Trump's administration, didn't support President Biden's administration, felt very frustrated. So Trump's administration comes in. We hear from Dan Bongino. We hear from Kash Patel. We hear from Pam Bondi. Wait till you see the Epstein files. Wait till you see the Epstein evidence. I mean, it's all on video. And then slowly we have, next thing we know, Dan Bongino and Kash Patel show up on TV, who previously said Epstein did not commit suicide, he was murdered, flip-flopped and said, well, there's no evidence. It looks like he actually did kill himself. And Dan Bongino looked like he was going to throw up during the interview. If anybody's watched him, they would know. Well, okay, so we're still waiting for the Epstein list. We're still waiting for the Epstein list. They come out and they basically say the Epstein case is closed and there is no list. So to everybody that was waiting to see accountability for people that were involved with Epstein and what was definitely child sex trafficking, and the Epstein Island, I think the whole thing. It was a gut punch. Now, because of that gut punch, there is a fracture happening in the MAGA movement. People feel a little betrayed by this. They were promised, justice, and thereby, yep, case closed, nothing to see here, move on.
Move on.
Like,
move
oh my
on.
God,
And so
really?
it does seem like a little bit of a cover up for sure. And to have them flip like that so quickly is just kind of like an amazing thing. All right. Well, thank you, Buck, for the summary. We'll see where this fractures the Trump MAGA movement, if it does at all. Certainly the big, beautiful bill was also kind of like a little traumatic for some people on the conservative side, where there was a little bit of a split there. But that's what governing is all about. You can't keep everyone happy all the time, right? Government can't be all things to all people. Buck, join us next time, I hope.
I will. Thanks, Jack. Appreciate it.
Pleasure. Have a great day. Thank you. All right. Thank you so much, Buck. And again, now our call lines are open. And so if you still want to call into the show today, you can. That would be awesome. Ron says the AG has a responsibility to opine about the question's constitutionality when the questions are submitted. I think that is true, right? Yeah. So when you submit a question, that's something very important. When you submit a question, I do believe that the Attorney General has an incredible opportunity right there officially to say whether or not this question is legal or not, if I'm not mistaken. I think you're right about that, Ron. And so that kind of stumped me when I heard her say that the constitutionality is determined later on, because it was always my belief that when you submitted a ballot question, the Attorney General issued an opinion, which was heavily considered. It might not be a yes or no opinion, but it was heavily considered. And if the Attorney General says it was unconstitutional, basically you're dead in the water. That was my recollection, not being a lawyer, too smart to go to law school. So great point, Ron. Cecilia, we just featured you in that story. Thank you for reposting the stream. Thank you. Very nice of you. All right. So if we have another call, I'd be very glad to take it. But I wanted to bring back this story that I promised to mention to you and bring it back into today's stream here. More Massachusetts criminal defendants released amid bar advocate strike. So this was something that we spent a significant amount of time on yesterday's stream. And these are not criminals. These are criminal defendants, which of course is a significant difference. And here's some guy named Nick, and his case is being reviewed with his lawyer. More criminal defendants without representation were released from custody on Wednesday. Good job, Democrats, including one facing charges of assault and battery with a deadly weapon, as state courts prepare for an onslaught of cases that could be dropped entirely for lack of defense attorneys. Lowell District Court First Justice Coffey oversaw 10 more cases Wednesday in which defendants had been held for more than a week without legal representation. So if you're just a quick backgrounder here, the bar advocates who are private attorneys, they stopped taking additional cases because they didn't like the pay that they were getting, which is $65 an hour. They want $100, if I'm not mistaken. So they stopped taking additional cases, and they did that with the full knowledge that they knew that there was this protocol from quite some time ago that says if you're indigent and the state fails to provide you with a lawyer within 7 days, then they can't hold you anymore. And if the state fails to provide you with the lawyer after 45 days, they have to dismiss the case. And so these people, these bar advocates, which yesterday one of our callers called the bar advocate program welfare for lawyers, understand that these bar advocates, the vast majority of them are, how do I say this, far leftists, Rachel Rollins types people, right, who want to decriminalize a lot of things to begin with. They basically found a way to lobby for a raise for themselves while simultaneously also getting a lot of their would-be clients off. Way to go, Democrats. Yeah, way to go, nice job, Democrats. But I want to also just bring up, if you hadn't seen the story, our old friend TFA. Yeah, the feds are moving to seize $13,000 in a restitution payment from disgraced. They want the money back that she took in the bathroom. And she strung out this paycheck situation for as long as possible. And I one of the reasons why I was assuming she was collecting these paychecks was to get as much money as possible so that she could pay her restitution, 13 grand. And apparently she hasn't yet. So the feds are they're tightening the screws on her, and they're going to seize her assets if she doesn't come up with the 13 grand. It's just a matter of time. So I'm going to just go back to the caller page here. I would love if one of more you call in. I just wanted to speculate for a minute on what's going on in the governor's race and also the U.S. Senate race. The potentiality for a third candidate. What's his name? Mr. Minogue? Minogue, is that how you pronounce it? Forgive me. It seems to be dragging on now, right? Like, I was incredibly and have been consistently critical of Mr. Shortsleeve and Mr. Keneally for showing up to the party, having basically said nothing over the last couple of years on X, which is obviously the number one site for political commentary in the United States. If you want to be active politically, you're on X, right? And they just showed up in the springtime with a boatload of money of their own that they're lending to their campaign or raising, and with no track record, basically say, "Hey, I'm your leader because I have money." Yeah, and Mr. Minogue or Minogue or whatever it is, no disrespect, I've never met him. He seems to be kind of playing the same game, but because he has a lot more money than Mr. Shortsleeve or Mr. Keneally, it seems like he's even waiting longer. If I was Mr. Minogue, or whatever his name is, I would at least start saying some things so that the first day you announce is not the first day that you're like launching your X account or being vocal on on these issues of the day, right? It just seems to me that so many politicians show up with a lot of money because they think that that's what wins campaigns, and it has for decades. And money is important, but if you're not paying attention, money is becoming less and less important to your ability to communicate. So if Mr. Minogue or whatever his name is, again, no disrespect in the name, if you're gonna be serious about this, you need some reps making some videos, right? And communicating and staking out some positions. And even if you don't run, I don't think it hurts to have another voice out there. But so far, like, we hear nothing from you. And then, the theory is that sometime over the summer or after Labor Day, you're going to announce with $1 gazillion, "I'm your hero. I'm your savior, Massachusetts Republicans." Why? Why? Are you a good messenger? We haven't heard you message. Or are you just somebody that's going to make the consultants rich, right? So if you want to run, then get on with it, is basically my point. As for the U.S. Senate, I just spent this morning looking at Mr. Deaton's feed, and he seems to be all crypto all the time. And from what I understand from Mr. Deaton, having heard him say this himself, that he won't run for the U.S. Senate unless Trump pledges not to back a Trump candidate, because I think Mr. Deaton feels that he can't win the primary unless he has frozen out a Trump. He can't win the primary against a Trump candidate is basically what I think he's saying. And so he will only run if there's no Trump candidate running. And theoretically, Mr. Manoog is a Trump candidate. Certainly, Mr. Keneally is not a Trump candidate. And Mr. Shortsleeve, I think, voted for Mr. Shortsleeve did vote for Trump, just to be perfectly clear. Mr. Shortsleeve voted for Trump. But I'm pretty sure that the conventional wisdom amongst the GOP establishment is that you can't talk about Trump, abortion, or guns. Yet, like, how do you win a Republican primary? Yeah. So my feeling, of course, is that you can talk about those things, and you should talk about those things, because when you talk about those things, you expand the electorate. If we are focused just on keeping the electorate exactly as it is, which I think our two current candidates are not expanding the electorate. If we keep the electorate as it is, we will lose in 2026. We can only win in 2026 by expanding the electorate into more, how do I want to say this? Well, I'll just say it. Working class folks, more working class folks, less Hingham, more Taunton type of voters, more Lawrence type of voter. That's where we can win. You've heard me say this before. All right, let's see if we have any more comments. Big crowd today. No more calls. All right, in that case, it's been great. We'll see you tomorrow, 8 a.m. Thank you so much for joining us. Thank you for reposting the stream. Have a great day. We'll keep you posted. Bye-bye.